Let's take a look at some information and charts on EOS for BraveNewCoin. EOS is a proof of stake network, which had one of the biggest ICOs ever a few years back now. Touted to be an ETH killer, dApps and DAX and all sorts of DAOs and things, which were advertised heavily during the ICO period. We'll see if any of that has come to fruition. And the website has the usual song and dance that all of the various coins have. You know, we are we are bigger, better, faster, stronger than everybody else in order to attract attention and eyeballs. If we look at Block One, which is the holding company, I guess, for EOS, they have 6.8 billion as of last report. In BTC holdings, 164,000. So they're holding 6.8 billion. EOS currently worth 3.6 billion. I think the ICO was 4 billion, right? So that means that they are now even under the ICO collection price, which is interesting. They do have this bullish global exchange, though. Terrible name, terrible website URL, and as far as I can tell, non-functioning at the moment. So we'll see if anything comes of this, but it's just kind of been one thing after another that hasn't really panned out, I think, as the EOS people even wanted it to. I don't want to see coins fail, but to see coins try to puff up their image and it's all hot air at the end of the day, the emperor has no clothes. Years later, they raised 4 billion. What do they have to show for it? That's the question. Is it still too early? Does an incubator need 4 billion? You know, that's why people are emotionally upset about EOS versus other stuff that's quote unquote hard money, non-ICO involvement. Like I said, it is proof of stake. If we look at the validators, the top 21 get paid, and in order to be sure that there is some modicum of decentralization, you need to make sure that these are spread out geographically, interests are spread out. These aren't all exchanges, these aren't all VCs. Now, there are a lot of exchanges here. There are a lot of validators located in Asia. I also don't know how many of these validators actually run a full node. I don't know how many full nodes are even on EOS. I don't know the size of the full nodes. These are all super important things when you're talking about decentralization, because again, ideally you have a vibrant, robust node network with lots of full nodes to verify the ledger, but that is not information really I've ever been able to locate successfully. A few months back, years back, there were a few of these full nodes that did, or a few of these validators that did have full nodes, but I don't know if that's the case anymore. Transaction counts are in the multi-million still, around 2 million, at a multi-month low though. And this could be a baseline here at around 2 million. As far as what exactly happens on EOS besides dApps-ish, we'll look at that too. Not much that I can tell. There isn't like a robust, vibrant DeFi thing going on. Block counts are fine. In early 2020, there was an airdrop. I think it was like October, November. There was an airdrop that crushed the network for a long time, but that hasn't happened since then. Now, if we go on to dApp Radar and we look at EOS 30-day users, most of the users are in this metaverse, Decentraland type of dApp. Most of the volume is in DeFi box. Never heard of it. New DEX, I assume, is a DEX. And this other stuff I haven't really heard of. I'm pretty well connected in the crypto sphere as far as hearing things and reading about things, and I never hear anything about EOS in regards to dApps and DeFi. So hey, commenter, you can point me in the right direction in the YouTube comments if I'm completely missing the mark here, but I do not see any FOMO, excitement, involvement from Joe Public into any of this stuff, so I don't know who's actually using it. I don't know where this volume is actually coming from. And if you compare that to ETH volume-wise, I mean, the top 10 things are in the billions, top 15 are in the billions of volume, right? So it's no comparison, no contest. Until people start using EOS, there's not much else to say, right? Like, we can look at the on-chain stuff a little bit. We can look at the dApp stuff a little bit. But what else is going on? It's just, I don't know. There isn't much going on. EOS.io, Google Trends are at the baseline level. It's kind of been holding out previously in the past 2 or 3 years, and I think this was the bullish global thing probably that spiked it up here, but I'm not really super sure. It was probably close to that time period. Some of this stuff could be bots as well. When you look at random Google Trends for certain coins, you'll see crazy spikes that don't make any sense whatsoever. don't correlate with price. This probably correlated with price all-time high or price relative local high, multi-year high, we'll say it like that. But right now this is curling down. Flipping gears to technicals, this is the half-year MA, and the green line here, the white is 2.5x and the red is 5x the green 183 MA. And you can massage this and curve fit it on the 183, the 365, and the 730 based on the amount of data available, based on the taps and touches previously. This thing hasn't really broken out of the 5x multiple ever. So it's hard to assume it's going to do that until it does it. Right now, let's say this goes bullish tomorrow and continues forever until the end of the quarter, then 17 would be the target from this price point. This MA is telling you anything below this has been a decent buying opportunity, but you got to keep in mind the duration has been multi-month most of the time. So this may go, sub 183 MA for multiple months before it finally turns up. But when it does turn up, the idea is that it will eventually hit midline or 5x multiple. The cloud does not like it here. It is below the cloud with a bearish TK cross. It needs to be back above 480 into Q4. It looks like November in order for this thing to turn bullish. If it can break 480, I do like 9 because that's a 50% retracement from the current local high to the current local low. Otherwise, this is probably going to revisit 330. If all of crypto breaks down, I can certainly see this thing going much lower, 250, something like that, previous support. If you look at the 5200 cross on the daily, we've had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 crosses since 2019. Really only one of those has done anything on the bullish side, anything worthwhile. So you almost have to go 2-day, 3-day, weekly to get like a valid signal that's worth using on crosses, unless you're just longing everything like a madman, assuming it's going to go up. But when the signals are poor on the crosses, I'm less likely to take a trade based off those crosses, at least me personally. Currently cross bearish, no surprise. It's kind of head and shouldered a little bit. You can even see remnants of head and shoulder here on the breakdown. So that with the bearish Kumo breakout, it's not a surprise it's headed lower, and it's not a surprise there's a death cross here now. So in order to be bullish into Q4, you'd want a bull cross. You'd want prices above 5, which would be the current volume congestion. Ideally, this holds at 370, but if not, it's 250, right? Based on VPVR, previous price action. RSI probably goes multi-month lows. You probably get some sort of bull div down here before this thing finally turns around. And the next monthly pivot down is also at 275. So it's not looking super great on the USD pair, and the BTC pair looks equally not bullish as it's got a death cross. It's basically at all-time lows. This thing could W out over multiple months into 2022. I don't know. So if you're a range trader who likes risk, you're probably waiting for a bull div here, waiting for some sort of new all-time low, waiting for some sort of capitulation candle, and then stepping in at that point in time. Even though it's against the trend, even though you're against a multi-year trend since 2018, this thing has just been down only. So it's hard to get bullish on anything that looks like that. And if we look at the EOS ETH pair, it looks even more dramatically bearish. You had a bear cross at the beginning of 2020, and it's just been denied at the 50 EMA continuously since then. Hasn't breached the 200. So in order to get bullish against ETH, you'd want to see some sort of fundamental reason. You'd want to see dApps, DeFi, bridging, anything, just anything that people can grab onto and say, yeah, this is why I want to buy EOS and use it. And you'd also want to see 5200 cross here. You'd want to see prices above the 200-day EMA for the first time. Lastly, I'll just mention the ETH-BTC fund and DeFi portfolio trade for Techemy Capital and Enzyme.finance, a non-custodial portfolio management tool where you can send ETH or USDC or just watch what I'm doing. You can see everything, including AUM performance allocation, all the vaults I'm in here, Compound, Aave, and Yearn, as well as the trades in the trades tab down below. That's all I have for this one. Like, dislike, comment, share, subscribe, and happy trading.